and welcome. Oh, there we go. Now it says we're live. Welcome back. All right, continuing on with our Thanksgiving special episodes for today, 2018, as we're doing this. We're winding down on several dishes, kind of coming together all at once, which is exactly what we wanted to begin with. All right, so keeping with the tradition, the new tradition, let's go ahead and get my shades off so I can see what the heck I'm doing, okay? And let's get my spectacles, that's with an S, on so we can do what we got to do. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that about a teaspoon?
Couple more grinds. All right. So,
Thank you.
first things first. Our marinade is actually about up, okay? I'm going to go ahead and actually just stop the timer a couple minutes early. A couple minutes is not going to throw it off. For your marinade on these, I would go no more than, believe it or not, 2 hours. Anything longer than that, you are just asking for disastrous results. And if it does not cover the tuna steaks enough, be sure to flip them. Now, what we're going to do, and some of you might freak out, but just bear with me for just a moment. What we're going to do is we're going to set these out at room temperature and kind of let some of the marinade drain off. We're going to do this for around about a half an hour. This is super, super important because the thermal trip is going to be shorter, and if any nasties try to get on there, you know, any nasty sort of, it's going to be going on a hot charcoal grill. So it's not really going to matter all that much because anything nasty that can't grow will be dead, okay? So let's get on with this. Let's grab our tuna steak real fast. Where are they? Oh, no laughing, folks. All righty. Let's go ahead and get our tuna steaks out of the marinade. I'll show them. You're going to need some sort of a pan with a draining rig. Okay? I'm going to whip her yet. Alrighty. And what we're doing now is we're just letting this drain. Okay? Try to give them enough room so all the excess can drain off right into the pan. Easy. Easy for washing here in a little bit, okay? And boy, that is strong, strong stuff.
I know.
The heck is...
You just do your live stream.
Okay. That's a radio nearby.
It's just some guy listening to a police scanner.
Huh. Interesting.
We have our windows open.
Yeah, we got our windows wide open, and sound really travels in this area. It's just one of those things. Okay, so we've got our tuna steaks right now draining. Here, real quick, let's go ahead and bring it in.
I don't know if this is going to work out, though.
Princess Faye is attempting basically some pan-fried tuna cakes. Okay.
There you go.
Alrighty. So it looks a little on the heavy side,
Yeah,
but you know what? I might have a solution for that, so don't worry about that.
It's still going to be good regardless, because I still got tortilla shells. I got cheese. I got mustard. If it goes bad, I can still make my
Right.
tuna wraps.
It's an experiment. If it works out, we'll show it on the channel sometime. If you all are interested.
Failure, too.
Well, we could show off a failure or two every now and again. So far, we have our macaroni and cheese. We've got right over here, we have our bacon, our barbecue bacon wrapped smokies, which you all seen earlier. We've got our tuna steaks on standby right now, okay? Which they're done with their marinade now. Which brings up, Princess Faye's over here being a goofball. Which brings up our K-crab that we had cut up earlier. Let's go ahead and break that out. Now, let's talk briefly. I tried this stuff earlier, and it was dead. Okay, I mean, it just, well, of course it is, but anyhow,
I was gonna say.
it just didn't have much in the way of flavor. So quickly I got to thinking, what can we do to enhance the flavor? We need some acids. Because there's going to be a lot of other flavors being brought into the party, if you will. So what I went ahead and did is I squeezed out two limes, used the zest of said two limes, and a couple of quick shots of rice wine vinegar. Put that in here, and over the course of, since the last live stream, had been turning it over, getting kind of like a light coating, okay? Now, when our rice goes beep, 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 within about 11 minutes, we're gonna pull that out. We're gonna add our sweated vegetables and the cake crab with the marinade on all together. Stir that around, let it sit for about an hour, and that'll be a nice kind of almost like rice salad sort of thing with a seafood twist, okay? Definitely something you might be interested in giving a shot. If not, you never know. You never know. And that doesn't mean we're going to stop there. There's other flavors we can add on board that'll just kick that flavor up a notch, so it's not so bland, okay? By the way, Princess Faye has a few coworkers that may be stopping by, and I don't know if they know about the live stream right now, but if they know this, I imagine they're going to be in a hurry to get over here and try something different. Okay, so there we have that. So our cake crab is on standby. Now I'm going to show y'all something pretty cool. What we did with the cake crab is we put it in a zip top bag, and then we put the marinade juices in there, and then over time we're just kind of turning it over. Okay, but because zip top bags sometimes have a tendency to leak, do yourself a favor, put it in some sort of a dish. Okay? Don't do that to yourself. That's a mess waiting to happen in your refrigerator, I'm telling you. Okay? So, there it stands so far. Our sweated vegetables, we just cut up one giant onion. I took a couple good-sized handfuls out, threw them in my trusty cast iron skillet, along with some of the red, yellow, and orange bell pepper. There is left over on that. Don't worry. We'll use that at a later date. Very soon, actually. Y'all like breakfast burritos? Just saying. Okay?
I like breakfast burritos.
I know you do. Also, now would be a good time to choose a cheese for your salad. Especially a good crumbling cheese. You could go with Parmesan. We have some left over from the other day. We have some leftover queso blanco. No, I'm sorry, queso fresco. Queso fresco on hand. Or you also have your choice of feta cheese, which is also damn good. Both in this case can withstand a great deal of heat, which is exactly why we like it. So you could put this as a topping. We're not going to mix it in. It's something that you can add to your rice dish. Put it right on top. If a person doesn't like that sort of cheese or doesn't want anything like that on there, maybe they're lactose intolerant, whatever the case may be, it gives them the option if they don't want it or not. Okay? So remember, options. You try to say that fast 3 times. Anyhow, because of the fact that it isn't, because some people just don't like certain things, don't add it, if you will. Okay? So, all right, I'm going to turn the camera just ever so slightly. Right over here again is our cast iron skillet. Thanks, Mom, my mother-in-law who bought that for me. We have our macaroni and cheese, and right here we have our bacon wrapped smokies, which I had to get on to Princess Faye because she was already trying to dip her hands into. Anyhow, you should see the pouty look. Anyhow, there we have all that, okay? Right now, we need to consider the fact that our tilapia is not thawed enough. So, we have a couple of options. One, we could skip it altogether. Or two, we can do a fast thaw. Now, this is not a big deal, okay? When you do a fast thaw, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to clear out a sink real quick. We're going to lay a bowl in there and run cool water over the top of the amount of fish that we're going to use.
I think we're good, actually.
You think you're thawed enough?
I can get them open.
Excuse me while I whip this out. It wouldn't hurt.
Some of the smaller ones would be good, but I'll get started on that sink thing.
Okay. And the reason why you do this, it has all to do with thermodynamics. I could try to explain it, but I would do a very poor job of it. Just understand, barring foodborne illnesses, because you don't like to leave it in the zone super long. Our tuna steaks have been marinated in a salty solution, so I'm not worried about that. The tilapia does not have anything salty on them. So, and even though they're vacuum sealed, we don't want to take a chance as that anaerobic bacteria could begin growing, because that's even harder to kill. So the best thing to do is thaw it fast, get it over with, okay? So, if you will...
Tell them how to thaw it fast.
Okay, I just did that. We're going to put it inside of a bowl of some sort. We're going to run cool running water. But if you were to twist my arm, I would say just about 20 degrees under body temperature, which, for those who do not know, is about 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? You'll be okay. It'll thaw it fast. And if you keep the water running at a slow motion, the motion of the water and the temperature will thaw it very fast, okay? For those of you who are doing turkey today and bought it early in the store, I hope that you were smart enough to leave the turkey in the wrapper, put it inside of a 5-gallon bucket, not one that you use for paint or tarring your roof, put it inside your bathtub, and ran and did something very similar, okay? If not, well, Thanksgiving's going to suck this year. Now you see why we went to the design that we're doing now. All right? So, we have a lot of stuff on standby, ready to rock and roll. We are on the countdown from about just under 5 minutes now before our rice comes out of the oven. Now, if you remember your brown rice the brown rice episode from Real Ricers here on Surviving Romance, it should be no question how to do it. But for those of you who are not in the know, it takes a tablespoon of butter, a little bit of salt. I would say if you're using salted butter, cut it down to just under a tablespoon. You can go with it, And but if you're using unsalted, use the full tablespoon. We used pink Himalayan. Use whatever you like. Just kind of a heads up. I'll be honest with you. I hate the taste of regular, normal, iodized table salt. And it's hard to control when I'm having to do pinching. And on top of that, the iodine in it reacts very badly with my heart. So that's why we use mineral salts of sorts, or we'll use sea salt, or typically, because it's cheap and it's easy to work with, we like to use kosher salt, okay? That's just how it is, right? And that doesn't affect the heart very much. Also, while we're on the subject of salts, okay, let's talk briefly about that. Here in the homestead of the Prince Magnum channel, or HQ as I sometimes call it, Prince Magnum channel HQ, you'll notice we use a total of 4 types of salts, as I said. This is a sea salt. Comes in its own grinder. Thanks to our friends over there at Dollar Tree, we have sea salt on hand for those certain applications that kind of require something, a little bit more, seafood-like. I mean, today would have been a perfect day to use this, but we didn't. This is a black Hawaiian salt that we use. You can buy this right at Walmart, and there's other stores that offer it. Myself, personally, I like this, and it comes with because it is a mineral type, you have to grind it on just like you would freshly ground black pepper, okay? And I like, Princess Faye likes the taste of this, and occasionally I like it on certain things, in certain applications. Perfectly fine, whatever your flavor. Now, this is a one that a lot of people are very used to. It's very common, salt. This is the Himalayan pink salt. Different flavor because of the minerals involved in it. And again, it also comes with its own grinder. Again, you can buy this right off the shelf at Walmart. And it's not that expensive. So, if you've got guests coming over and, want to impress them with your cooking skills, a lot of times, just changing out your salts can bring on different flavors, okay? And while we're also on the subject, good old kosher salt, we always try to have on standby. And let me say again, here in the home of the Prince Magnum channel, we like to, when I salt something, it's to turn up the volume of what you're trying to eat, okay? Again and again and again and again, a lot of people mistake that. Good cooks don't salt food to make them taste salty. They try to salt them to turn up the volume. Because something to do with the ionic properties that sometimes leave scientist types scratching their heads, salt just turns up the flavor a little bit. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of dessert stuff that I don't make unless it has just a touch of salt in it, okay? And believe it or not, well, happy Thanksgiving to you. Yes, we have Miss Soberman joining us for the live stream. So, now that we have that squared away, be careful with your salt. Don't overdo it, If you like your food super salty, I don't know what to tell you on that one. Anyhow, again, huh?
Go cheap in that case.
Yeah.
Just gonna use a lot of salt.
Right. And regular table salt will do just fine in that case. There is our brown rice. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and pull this bad boy out of the oven and doggone timers. Now, our brown rice is right in, thank you, is right in this little dish. I actually bought this at believe it or not, a yard sale. Just goes to show, good cooking vessels you can sometimes get just about anywhere. All right, so here we go.
These are perfect now, baby.
Are they? Fantastic. Yeah, that didn't take long. All right. Wow. A little watery, but I'm not worried about that because the rice itself is just fine. I think I overdid the water just a smidge, but that's okay. Because if this sort of thing happens, don't freak out, okay? What we are going to do is we're going to grab the lid to this little pot right here. I'm going to put it on right like such. I'm going to grab my gloves like this. And here we go. We're going to drain off what we don't need. There we go. And that'll be just fine. Just fine. Because the rice itself is, believe it or not, just fine. Just touch too much water. And usually it's the other way around if you understand brown rice. Okay. And real quick, I'm going to grab something to kind of fluff said rice. All right. Well, I was. Hang on a second here. I got this. Perfect. Perfect. There we go. Fantastic. Now we're going to let this steam out for just a moment. And as amazing as brown rice really is, as amazing as it is, the flavors and just the texture, and how healthy it is for you, by itself, kind of bland, okay? To me, okay? So now is a great time to consider, as I said, we have our marinated K-crab. And the bag did actually have a leak, which is exactly why we put it in that container. As soon as I lifted it up, a little bit dripped off. All right, we're going to go ahead and add that directly in. Fantastic. Fantastic. Might have had too much crab, but that's okay.
This bag actually comes comes with different cooking instructions.
Fascinating. Now, to go along with that, we're going to go ahead and turn off the oven. We don't need it right now. Actually, we'll need it here in just a bit. We're going to go ahead and add our lightly sweated veggies. Man, there's garlic in here, onion, and of course, red, yellow, and orange bell peppers. Fantastic. I love this stuff. Okay, we'll get that out of the way. My good old trusty cast iron skillet. Thanks again to my mother-in-law who bought that for me. Believe it or not, my steak fajitas would not survive without a good cast iron skillet. And we're going to lightly stir this in. Now, again, fantastic. And here in just a second, I'll go ahead and lift it up to the camera so you all can see what this looks like. Now, don't panic. We're going to let this kind of, don't worry, the rice is hot enough. Anything that has cooled off will be hot again. So, and because of the nature of brown rice, you do have the option of whether or not you want to serve it hot or cold. Pretty awesome if you ask me. All right, there we go. And ta-da! Fantastic. There we go. Now, where's my other glove? I'm losing my mind. All this awesome cooking.
You're losing your gloves.
That too. There you have it. Very simple crab and rice dish. Okay? Now, because I don't want it to cool off very fast, because we're getting down to the nitty gritty. All right, that takes care of that. All right, so we have all of our stuff off. The next thing, we got to throw some biscuits in the oven. Got to have some biscuits for this. Okay? Now, I know some of you are sitting there saying, Prince Magnum, what does biscuits have to do with seafood? Well, if you know anything about traveling the ocean, biscuit has something to do with a twice-baked type of bread that you found on ships. In some cases, it was similar to our old Civil War era hardtack. And of course, it was used for all sorts of different things. Because you couldn't take rice, well, I'm sorry, you could not take just regular flour. The bugs would eat up the flour. So, twice-baked biscuits were about the best way to transport, food in this case. Instead of, flour. It was harder for the bugs to eat, okay? So, if you know anything about that, for those people who might be watching, who understand sailing and things like that, would probably be able to tell you a great deal more than I could. But hey, what I was able to offer is still pretty doggone good. And it's kind of ironic because the first Thanksgiving, the Mayflower, all that good stuff. Exactly. All right. So I don't necessarily think that this would have been something that we might have seen at the very first Thanksgiving, but it's a possibility. All right. So let's go ahead and grab some regular store-bought biscuits. And want to thank our friends up there at Deloge Walmart for hooking us up. These are just regular old buttermilk store-bought biscuits, okay? We're still working up to me doing actual homemade biscuits, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Southern style, of course. So we're going to follow the actual directions on here, and the directions are pretty doggone clear for the most part. 350 in the oven. Let's see. They say 1 inch apart. We're going to change that. We're going to change that actually, and we're going to go 13 to 16 minutes, or until golden brown. Not bad, not bad. One of the things I typically found, even with these biscuits, if you make them just touch, they come out a little bit better. Don't know why. Maybe there's someone who does homemade biscuit making that would be able to tell me a little bit better about that. All right. I'm going to turn that light down a little bit because there's actually more than enough light right now. Okay. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves a... Uh-oh. I'm running out of baking pans fast.
I haven't used that glass one if you want to use that.
What?
The second glass cake dish.
Actually, I was thinking something more along the lines of, see if I remember correctly. 350, I believe. Yeah, 350. There it is. Tell me it's warm enough. We're going to let that actually cool down a little bit. Now, for those who are right in there with me on this, you understand full well that this is very typical of a typical Thanksgiving day. You're making a ton of food and you're cranking it out 90 to nothing. You are not going to stop. All right. Maybe you started late last night. Maybe you're bright and early today. I guess we will use this one. All right. Running out of pans here, but I think we'll be okay. We'll be okay. All right. First things first. Let's go ahead and crack this bad boy open. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Okay. Sometimes these pop real hard. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes no warning. There it is. All right. While I'm laying that out, let's go ahead and briefly talk about here in just a few. We're gonna shut down the live stream again, and we're gonna get hard at firing up that grill. Now it's gonna take a good minute, but you all are gonna see some pretty awesome stuff. Okay. We're gonna have to we're gonna have to do one of these ever so slightly different because. One of the things that has to be done to the tuna steaks, Princess Faye is not a huge fan of. I myself think it's just all right, but hey. Oh, no. Either way. That actually works better. Thank you, dear. Okay. Now that we've got this in here, one of the things I typically found is if you put a light indent with your thumb right in the middle, or your index finger and middle finger, it kind of helps the biscuits rise a little bit. Just something I found with these bigger, even the store-bought. And that's actually a trick from the homemade biscuit era. All right, so we're going to go ahead and set our timer. It says 13 to 16 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and go 14. That sounds good to me. It's a good middle of the road. So we're going to go ahead and set our timer for 14 minutes.
I'm going to see if I can't.
Bounce these in the oven. And hit start. So, because this was at 375, it's really not enough time for it to fully cool down. That's why we're going to go ahead and just go 14 minutes. That should be more than enough to get a nice golden brown and delicious biscuit. If you like certain fast food joints biscuits, as soon as they come out, have some melted butter standing on by and lightly brush it over the top. Alrighty. Certain fast food joints, that's a little secret they do. Okay? You can do the same. It's up to you. It's your food. All right. We're going to have to actually do our biscuits in batches, which I'm okay with. All right. Also, we have a bunch more store-bought biscuits because we are actually going to have to go back and do our biscuit and gravy episode again. But we're going to throw in a few extra additions along the way because that actually a good friend of mine had asked me if I would do that live stream. We're working up to it. We're not there yet, but don't worry. When we get there, we'll do it, all right? So, don't think I hadn't forgotten you. Today is just not the day. I've got too many dishes already made up as it is. And there'll be plenty of leftovers for a minute. By the way, I'm just curious, with all the cooking that's happening today, how many people we can expect next year for Thanksgiving. Who knows?
Nobody's invited. Stay away.
You're just saying that because you don't want anyone to eat up the the barbecue bacon smokies.
It's okay.
Anyhow.
I think this will stay a little bit warmer now. I should have put the put the aluminum foil on it before, but
Excellent.
the inside was still warm, so I just stirred it up. It's fine.
Okay.
Don't judge me.
Okay. Now we're at that stage where We could start our pan-fried fish fillets. Where is that pan?
What pan? Which pan?
The one that I had to hand off to you.
Oh, right here. I set it aside.
Okay. When you're talking about fish, it's mostly protein. Do yourself a favor, non-stick. Doesn't have to be that one particular brand that's made by DuPont. That type of pan. Doesn't have to be in this
I'm
case.
going to intervene really quick. I'm sorry. You need more counter space. So,
Yes. I was going to say, you could put some of that over there on the table.
already doing it. Okay.
Have you got it all?
I've got it. I got it.
Okay, awesome. Okay. As I was saying, a non-stick pan is just fine for pan-fried fish and even eggs. And certain things that typically stick. I know there's a particular company called DuPont that makes a particular type of slick spray that goes on pans very well, and it's a non-stick. Okay? I think you all know the name of it. It starts with a T. Yeah. So do yourself, I won't mention them because there's probably royalties they would want from me if I did. But a good non-stick pan is all you're gonna need for pan-fried fish. It's been a little while since we've done pan-fried fish fillets on here, but to go along with our seafood Thanksgiving, I think it works out just fine.
It's my favorite dish.
As Princess Faye has just very kindly mentioned, it's one of her all-time favorite dishes that we do here on the Prince Magnum channel, and it doesn't hurt to do a review every now and again. Well, it doesn't. Okay.
Help you get set up here.
So we are now at that stage where we're going to have to go out and set up our charcoal grill, which means that I'm going to have to step away for a little while, and we will talk to all of you just shortly. So we'll come back on the live stream here in just a little bit, but we have to go set up in the meantime. So as usual, follow me on the usual social media outlets that you all know that I'm on. Facebook, Twitter. I need to get onto my Twitter account and start kind of checking some stuff out. Be sure to check out the Patreon account. Obviously not today. Spend some time with the family. Actually, check all of this out tomorrow. Tomorrow. After you're done shopping. Okay?
Or instead of shopping.
Or instead of shopping. Be sure to check out the usual stuff. As usual, get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is. Just freaking do something with yourself. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet. You might make them some of these dishes, even if it's not Thanksgiving. And as always, for all of you out there, if no one out there has told you that they love you, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.